Mic check.
Mic
I
check.
think we on. Here we go.
We in the house.
This is podcast number 2.
We made
Dose.
it to 2.
Two.
Angel number 2.
Yeah. What's the? Give us. Well, we're going to that. What's the 2 is usually like coupling, right?
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, we got more than a couple. We got 4 people here.
It's also the gateway.
Oh,
Like
so we're
2
gonna,
that you enter into.
Right.
Into.
We've passed the gateway. We've walked through that portal.
Okay,
That's
so
it.
this the gateway.
There's no
show.
turning back now.
Well, you gotta remember too. I don't know how familiar you guys are with African, spirituality, but
That's what we're here to learn.
but
Teach us.
Monday is actually Alegwa's day.
Yes.
So like
Okay.
Alegwa is the king of the crossroads. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? Anything that you want to do, anything that what I'm saying, everything kind of goes through him. But when you're in the crossroads, like let's say you're in between jobs or something like that, like your boy me.
It happens to everybody,
You know
brother.
what I'm saying? When you're at a crossroads, you gotta make a decision. And Alegwa is the person that opens and closes doors of opportunity. So there's that.
I did not know that. See,
Synchronicity.
we already dropping knowledge and nuggets. I mean, we not even a minute into this podcast
now.
number 2. This is the 239 Spiritual Awakening for y'all who don't know.
Special
We
guest.
just real people talking real spiritual things, man. And this
Facts.
show was created for the main reason was to inform, educate, and empower everyone. Whether you have an ounce of spiritual in your DNA or you just completely don't have any spirituality in you. So if you come across this video, wherever, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, it was meant for you to see. That's all I can
Yes,
say.
welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome.
I got to I was watching last week's podcast, the first one, and I didn't really introduce everybody kind of properly. So we're probably not going to introduce everybody properly here because I don't even know his name yet. He just some random black dude decided to show up, so we didn't want to, we didn't want to start no.
Yeah,
he just
keep on coming.
maybe he saw the podcast
man,
and he was
that's
like,
it.
you know what, I got to show up, man.
I said like 2 angel numbers. Yo, like, all right, bet. We got extra mic. Nah, but my name's Marcelo Waves. I'm a paradero. I'm a santero. I do a lot of. Basically, I'm a priestess. I mean, not priestess. A priest. Not priestess.
Well, in a way, we all are. I mean,
Yeah, we got that balance of masculine and feminine energy that we always have to
there we
balance
go.
out.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm here to learn some stuff and also teach y'all some stuff about
Yes.
some African spirituality.
Let's do it.
Yes,
A lot of
yes.
people don't know how like Black Panther was. I was a Yabo during Black Panther, and they were doing the Wakanda Forever thing.
Uh-huh.
But
Yep,
but
yep.
during like your Yabo right here, you have to dress in all white. You can't touch
Yes.
nobody.
Yep.
Really?
Yep. Yeah.
But I told people before Black Panther came out, you have to do this, and then people would be like, oh shit, nah, that's weird. And then Black Panther came out and they did this. You're like, oh shit. We in this time. I'm like, y'all
Wait,
so
there's
full of
something
shit.
to this.
So but a lot of things in like Afro punk and stuff like that, they do derive a lot of their stuff off of the African spirituality.
A lot of that, yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't know, man. I'm 30% African, so I'm gonna learn something from you
Hey,
today.
there you go. See,
My people
yeah.
come from Congo, Tani and Bogo. Is that it? I know some Africans might see this be like, man, get this dude out of here. I can't even pronounce the countries right. But I did an Ancestry.com DNA thing last year, and it was like 3 countries. I can't remember the other one. So, but Congo was the strongest one. So
But we were just discussing because he is a child of Abatala and I am a child of Yemaya, which is their, I studied a lot of that too.
Hold on,
So-
man. Before we dive deep, can we introduce ourselves? He introduced himself, even though I still don't remember his name. It's too hard to
Marcelo.
remember. Marcelo. You got a nickname? That's a little too complicated.
Well, my
Low?
my African name is nah. Nah, chill.
Keep it simple, man. We
It's
gotta
already
dumb it
gonna be a
down.
good
My-
podcast. Stay tuned.
My African name is Baba Yede.
That's way too.
Baba.
Lede.
Baba.
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 Baba,
I'm
that's
gonna
what
stick
we'll
with
call him.
Marcelo. Is
That
that
means father.
okay?
There you
Are
go.
you a father? You got kids?
Obatala's in charge of fatherhood.
Oh.
That didn't answer my question though.
I'm around these little niggas a little bit more than usual. I think that's a sign, low key.
Okay, I'm Jay Green. Some people who know me locally in Southwest Florida for a long time. I was a DJ. They know me as Jay Style, but I am Jay Green. That was in a former lifetime.
Yeah.
I guess I'm one of the creators of this podcast. So I'm the baby of the spiritual awakening. Everybody else, well, how long? Let me ask you this, since you weren't here last week. How long you feel like you've been on the spiritual awakening journey? All your life?
Well, like here's the thing, and thank you for asking that question. Personally, my mom, when I was around the age of 5 or 6, first thing she told me, listen, there's this religion, you know what I'm saying? We practice this in the house and stuff. But if you don't know who the fuck you are, then what are you gonna be doing?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I got scratched in Palo when I was 15. I became a Santero at 18. I'm 21 now. However, I will say that it's lifelong, not because of the religion.
You grew up around it.
Yeah, not just because of that, but also because I was forced to be around so many different other spiritual practices because my mom was a big proponent about that. If she was like, at 18, you got to make the decision, but you need to make sure that you sum up your experiences a little bit and, like, you have to put yourself in different things. You have to be uncomfortable and stuff like that. Because you're not going to know. A lot of people are like 40, 50, and they still don't know who they are.
And I think that's I think that's really where everybody's coming from.
Young.
It didn't happen to me till last year at age 40.
Hey,
I mean, I had it in me, but like I didn't start having the spiritual experiences, like which we'll get into in a little bit. Like it was in me, but that's how it is. Like I was reading up on Life Path number 11s this week, and that's basically what they say. It either happens to you young or it happens to you around my age.
Yeah.
So it was in me dormant. I just had to tune in and change my frequency and vibration to get to that level. So I want to cut this off, but Mark, you got to introduce yourself because last week you jumped in. I want people to resonate with who's who here.
Okay, cool. Hi, I'm Mark Kolak, and I'm the founder of the Modern Mystics Academy and also the creator of the Soothe Your Soul Saturday workshop that we do at Paradise Wellness Center. Next one coming up in September 21st on the autumnal equinox. So I've been involved in this spiritual quest pretty much for about 40 years. But, you know, one thing that's interesting is that we go through 4 7-year cycles, like 0 to 7, we develop physically.
Right.
7 to 14, the same growth forces that birth us, they start to develop us emotionally. 14 to 21, those same growth forces develop us mentally. That's when the frontal lobe develops. That's why, like, you read Shakespeare in 12th grade, not in, like, 4th grade. And then at 21 to 28, your 4th 7-year cycle.
Yeah.
Physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. So 21 to 28, the natural growth forces that incarnate us actually develop us spiritually between 21 and 28. So if you go back and look at your life, spirituality is coming at us at that early time, 21, 22. But if we're not aware of it, like what Jay was saying, then it kind of goes, you know.
Oddly enough, I got baptized on my 21st birthday.
Hey,
there you go.
There you go.
It's natural. It's organic. It's biological.
Or I mean, if you were brought up,
I would co-sign that.
Yeah, if you were brought up on like one specific religion, you don't know what's out there. So it's like your concept. So I like the concept of what that you know. I did the same thing with my boys. Like I taught them, you know, just experience everything, go and look up everything. So yeah, I mean that makes sense. They're right about that age. They're 12 and 14 right now. So yeah.
So just watch it. Now that you know it, you can watch it. And then the idea is it actually comes from Waldorf education, from a guy named Rudolf Steiner.
I almost put my kids, I did the Montessori, but I almost did the Waldorf. Yes.
He was a mystic who lived in the late 1800s.
Yes, I loved his concept.
Beautiful stuff.
Yes.
Now you got to introduce yourself, our in-house. I don't want to put a label on you. I just let you do your thing.
Okay. Yeah, well, you can put the label on me. I'm your in-house tarot reader.
Do you like to be called a psychic or no? That's like kind of a dirty word to some folks.
I don't really connect with a psychic because, like I said, I will not tell you your future. I will give you options. So I am more of an affirmationist.
Affirmationist. Okay.
So I confirm. I get your vibes. I confirm what your true heart's desire is. The one that you are sending directly to me. That's the one I'm going to pick up on, and that's the one that we're going to confirm. So that's what I do. I don't tell your future because I don't want that responsibility on. You know, then you're going to say, well, you told me that I was no.
And then it don't happen when they want it to happen. That's not how the universe and the creator works.
Right. Nothing sets in stone. Well, I'm Enchanted Raven. I go by Enchanted Raven, and I am here to.
Besides tarot, you got to tell people your spiritual gifts, because everybody in this room has gifts. I think. It might be safe to say you probably have more gifts than all of us. I don't know. We're going to dive deep with Mark. I don't know this guy. I'm still trying to figure out his name. Marcelo. Gotcha.
Bye-bye.
But you have a lot of spiritual gifts. I think you should let that out. Let the universe know what you could do. Because just in this short time I've known you, in like the last month, you got a lot going on.
I do. and each time I get a new gift, I'm just I'm grateful. So I'm clairsentient. I am clairvoyant. I am an empath. I can do past regression. I work with spirits. I can talk
see
with
auras.
See auras. I read vibes. God, there's a whole lot. Now listen, let me explain. I don't read your thoughts. Like
Right.
that is your personal stuff. That's not what I do. Your thoughts are safe. Yeah, I just pick up on your vibes. Part of being an empath is I will tell you what you're not saying. I pick up on what you're not saying. I pick up on what you're trying to portray, but you're not portraying it.
You
So,
see spirits also, right?
I do.
Can you talk to them, or they just talk to you? How does that work?
Oh, God,
I
they
know
don't
some
shut
people.
up.
Yeah,
They do
so-
not shut up.
But can you talk back to them also?
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
because
on a
some
daily
people
basis.
had a skill of hearing them, but can't really talk back to them.
I do everything. I talk to them. I give messages. Actually, I forgot. Hey, boo boo, my sister, Lori. I just did a reading for her and her husband, my brother-in-law, and I was able to pick up on a grandmother that she was showing me her best friend. You know, she had white curly hair and she wore that sweatshirt, you know, like the Hanes sweatshirt that and I picked up on that, and they're like, well, we don't really know who that, and then they asked his mom and they were like, that's her best friend. I'm like, well, she was coming through.
You know
So-
what's interesting? When Icy comes back in here, I just thought about it. It just came back to me
Yes,
about the spirit that you
yes.
told him was around him. I wonder, has it
yes.
went off, and has he figured out who that spirit is that's
'cause
around him?
He won't say anything, so I'm like, he knows something.
Oh, we gonna get him. We gonna get him today. We gonna get him today. Mark, you want to join in on? Because I probably got the least spiritual gifts. I only know about one, but
that you know about. It
Yeah.
haven't developed yet.
right.
Yeah.
I know about my clairvoyance. That's
Right.
the only thing I know about
Right.
so far. But I'm working on like my discernment and intuition. I'm getting into the tarot, and I use that kind of like as a confirmation to
That's-
test that skill
Yeah.
set.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
but clairvoyant for sure. That's the first thing that
Yep.
I experienced,
Yep.
and
And a
that's when
little
I
bit of
got
an
on the frequency tuning table. And that's when I
A
experienced
little bit of
that.
an empath too.
A
You
little bit
are.
of empath.
Yep. Yep.
All right.
Who, him? Oh, definitely him.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Yep.
Because really, I mean, all of us is what I would call star seeds.
Yes.
And star seeds are empaths.
Yes.
And that's who we are. And we incarnated specifically with this ability, which is a very highly developed intuition, which is in a sense is kind of what
100%.
empathy is.
Right.
So having that highly developed intuition, which I was talking to you outside, you were telling me all these experiences that you've had,
Oh, it's
where
not.
you're totally tuned in, you
Yeah,
know, to everything
it's
that's
every
going
day
on.
it's so many experiences I have I
Facts.
can't remember. I have to try to like record them or download them on my phone so I can remember, because we were talking about this off the air, which leads us to our topic of the day.
Yes.
Yay!
Finally, this is what we're trying to focus on this
Oh.
podcast here today, folks.
I wanted to talk about my girls. Oh, yeah.
Oh, go ahead, brother. My bad. I don't want. Go ahead.
He's
Go
like,
ahead.
wait a minute.
Marcelo, I'm
Baba!
sorry. I'm sorry. Well, I kind of cut Mark off. I don't know how deep Mark wanted to go in. I don't know
Oh,
if he
no.
was finished, but
Well, the only thing I wanted to say about that was that in terms of intuition, like I have the uncanny ability to be able to read people's energy. And as a spiritual coach, that's really useful. So people come to me and I can talk to them. And then what happens is when I talk to people, I start to get like pieces of a puzzle, and then the puzzle sort of starts to fit
That is
together.
the truth. Yes. Because
We did that together,
yes,
actually.
absolutely. And that is really how he helped me understand that I am Raven. Like when I go into Raven, that's my true self. So, and once he pointed that out to me, that was it. That was a wrap. That's where.
this is why I
everything just
found
started.
y'all,
This
man.
is
No
it.
coincidence.
This is-
We were divine to be together.
That's
And now we
right.
got a new Soul Tribe member
Yes.
that we
I
don't
walk-
know, but we getting to know him right here live
Yeah.
on episode 2.
I walked in the nut.
We caught you. We caught you.
So I do want to say for like the listeners that, you know, we're talking about a whole bunch of different abilities, clairvoyance, empath, et cetera, et cetera. One thing I will say is that your abilities are tailor-made for the path of life that you are meant to lead a little bit.
That is
And
true.
what I mean by that is that for me, you know, we were talking about the African Parthenon and all that. You know, specifically for me, we have restrictions. That's why being a Santero is a very high like commitment. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's not for everybody,
For sure.
right?
Oh yeah, the
And I
journey
remember,
is not to be messed with, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Like for instance, everybody that's a child of a Legua has a very, 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 very close tie with Orula. And Orula is in charge of destiny. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, if you're like me, I never like I got restrictions specifically that I can't do readings for anybody but myself, right? Which means a lot. It could mean like, you know, interpreted in many different ways. But what that does mean is that maybe my path isn't with tarot
Right.
or healing, da da da
Right.
da.
Right.
But you have to know that you are in yourself a strong spiritual being, right? For me, I'm really big with empath intuition, realizing that a lot of people don't realize, but communication is essentially the transfer of energy. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna remember what the fuck you said to me, but I'm gonna remember how it made me feel.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So,
Yep.
what I do want to say is that
Look at
you
like,
know you
let
don't
me
have to
tell
be like
you.
Hakuna Matata over there with all of the superpowers and stuff.
Don't hate.
Right.
Don't hate.
You know,
Don't hate.
but at the same time, you're gonna come into yourself and you're gonna realize the spiritual tools that are made for you is true to self.
Yes.
Because everything is from within.
Right.
Right? Me, I know I'm not supposed to help niggas like that. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, can we curse? No, I'm playing. But
I
at the
did,
sa-
but I'm
at-
trying to calm it down. Go
But
ahead.
at the same time, maybe that can be really spiritually draining for me, and it puts me in a situation where I can't do my best work. You get what I'm saying? However, I can give advice, and I can read the energy around somebody and be like, "Hey, man, let's talk. Da-da-da-da. Something's going on here. Something's going on here." Sometimes it doesn't really need shells, cards, etc. Sometimes it does need person-to-person communication because communication is the transfer of energy. And that's all I
Facts.
wanted to say for all of the listeners here. And yeah, let's go on to the main
Yeah,
topic.
because
you were
this
trying to
is
segue into
because
that.
I agree, and I'm glad you mentioned that because like part of what I wanted to create with this podcast was like keeping it as simplistic for
Right.
people who aren't on the spiritual journey,
Yes,
so to speak,
of
or
course.
had a spiritual awakening yet, because to them it's a very sensitive topic, you know. Like,
100%.
people
Right,
might
right.
experience something, but then they don't go into it. They don't dive deep into it and find out what it is and what it's about and what the message was, like you said.
Well,
So
homegirl says she talked to spirits. I'm pretty sure like 85% of like the regular natural body is about to be like, oh shit, that means you do some wild shit. No, it don't mean that. Bro, when you die, your energy still stays within this earth, bro.
Right.
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 Like,
right.
and
a
there,
lot
you know what I'm
of people
saying?
can't grasp that fact. They just
But people think of like paranormal activity and think they about to drag them down the stairs or some shit. No,
Right.
it's not gonna happen
No.
like that.
No.
At all.
we
Good
just
to
had
know,
that
good to know.
conversation in the
Outside,
parking lot
right,
about
right,
the whole
right.
story.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
All right, so can we get on topic now?
please, let's get
Okay.
on. I'm excited about
The,
this.
top,
Yeah,
the,
we can do
the,
like
the
that.
topic is in, the sequence of how I foresee this podcast working is since I'm the newbie on the spiritual. I've only been on the spiritual awakening journey for the last 11 months. It hasn't even been a full year for me yet. So I'm the least experienced.
That's okay. You're
but
here.
I wanted the topics to be how the process of my journey has been the last 11 months. And the first podcast was about the synchronicities,
Right.
the repeating numbers, so forth
Right.
and so on. The next thing I noticed after the synchronicities was nature, having experiences with animals.
That's how it happens.
And animal totems
Yep.
and omens, whatever you want to call them.
Right.
And the butterflies. I had tapped on that just a little bit on the first podcast of the butterflies was the
Right.
first experience I had when a butterfly flew on me. And then every day it's been the same thing. And then I had the experience with Yona where we connected. And shout out to Yona. He couldn't make it tonight. He wanted me to give him a
Yona,
shout out. He'll
we
be
miss
back
you.
next week. Yep. Shout out to Yona. But long story short, Yona was secretly watching me. I didn't even know we were Facebook friends. And then he inboxed me and he's like, bro, I've been seeing monarchs every day and I can't get to them. They're like up in the tree. Every time I get close, I can't even take a picture. And I'm like, just hold tight. I'm going to come over your house. We're going to reconnect and we'll see what happens. And as soon as I went over his house, I cannot make this up. Like within 5 minutes, a monarch flew over us. And then like another couple minutes, one flew right in the palm of his hands. And he went from not even being able to get close enough to take a picture to one fly in his hands when our energy connected.
Right.
And that's just one story. Now I'm gonna jump into the next one that involves the Enchanted Raven of it. So she gave me my first tarot card reading ever in my whole life. I've never done one before. I've been kind of like hesitant
I'm
about
so
the.
honored.
Yeah, so I was a tarot virgin. I'm no longer. She popped my chair. You know.
That's a crazy.
So
I'll take
check
it.
this
I'll
out.
crazy
take
So-
statement.
It's all in the mind. It's theater of the mind, brother. Theater of the mind. So
Watermelons.
the first two card decks that I picked, she had like 10 different card decks at her place, and the ones that I picked was the butterfly one that she brought with her today, and the Ascended Masters. And out of like I don't know how many cards is in that deck. I'm just curious.
44.
44 cards in that deck. Guess which butterfly I picked out of 44 cards?
Monarch.
The monarch
Hey,
butterfly.
yes.
All right,
Yo,
so,
yo,
Real
yo.
quick,
And I
Real
recorded
quick.
everything.
I'll be honest with you, and this is actually one of the rules to Ifa. You are a part of the world in a literal, not figurative way. So you have to look at yourself. You were looking outside like there was somebody sitting there.
No.
I was like, damn, Edwin's out here. Nah, but you are a part of the world in a literal. You're a part of the universe in a literal, not a figurative way.
You
So-
got to explain to me
So
what that means.
what that means is that, a lot of people be like, damn, it'd be crazy, you know what I'm saying, if the birds were like this, but we do this, that. That's like figurative, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But literal, we are connected.
Yeah, oh yeah, I know that.
We are all connected.
Yes.
And that's one of those, I hate to say like the rules, 'cause I don't like really referring to the rules, but like literal, yeah, you are connected to like that monarch butterfly or the bird you said the bird flew into your hand?
Oh no, we're gonna get into that. I've had experience with birds, turtles, deers, an owl, non-stop in the last 11 months. Yeah,
That's
Did you
how,
ever-
yep.
I've had some wild, because I'm in nature like 30 to 40. I jog 2 miles a day now, so I'm out in nature. Like as soon as I wake up and I pray and I meditate, I go right outside and be in nature.
Right.
So I have an experience almost every day.
Right. Right.
We'll talk more.
Right.
Don't worry, I got something for that.
Okay. All right, we gonna get into that. So that's today's topic. We're gonna talk about nature, how it connects to the spiritual awakening journey, the importance of it, and I know eventually we're gonna tie into the Amazon with everything that's going on there, because we can't
Right.
have a conversation about nature and not talk about the Amazon and how
Right.
everything is
Right.
connected and
Right.
everything. We need nature and the importance of nature, not only in spiritual awakening, but just in general, because if we don't have oxygen and we don't have water, we cannot live.
Facts.
It's physically impossible as far as what I know, and you don't need to be on a spiritual journey to know that. I think that's
Right.
common sense. So I got a lot of experiences. I mean, you want to start with me or someone else want to jump in?
Well, I think you went the last time, so you start first.
Okay,
Yeah.
so my spiritual journey started off 11 months ago. First, I seen the butterflies, and particularly one kind of butterfly. It was always the white peacock. And I didn't know what, I'm like he said, like butterflies, I didn't know the difference between them other than different colors.
Right.
So I'm just
Right.
wandering around like, oh, cool, butterflies, So I started having contact with them. One flew on me, and then I just started seeing them every day.
Right.
So eventually, one of my Facebook friends, who I didn't even know was a Facebook friend of mine, her name's Patricia. Patricia,
Hey,
shout out to
what's
you.
up,
Shout out to you.
Patricia?
I swear to God, I didn't even know she was a Facebook friend of mine. She hit me up in my inbox, and she's like, I work at the Butterfly Museum and
Nice.
Farm in
Yes.
Fort Myers.
Yes.
I'm like, I didn't even know it was a butterfly farm and
Right.
museum in Fort
Right.
Myers.
Field
She's like,
trip.
yeah, exactly.
Field
We are
trip.
going to
Yes,
record a
yes,
podcast.
yes,
It
that's
is.
happening.
Yes.
That is
we
happening.
got a butterfly land.
That's
We
what I'm
do.
telling you.
We
It's
do.
it's
We
right
do.
in, and it's the trippy thing is on Fowler downtown. And at that time, my office was literally 2 blocks away from this place, and I never knew it. It's such a hidden gem in Fort Myers that
Love it.
you
love it.
you won't know about it unless someone is in tune to your frequency, who's
Love
in the
it.
same frequency. So, long story short, I went to the Butterfly Museum. She gave me like a 20-minute crash course, because like it's a 3-part building. I don't want to make this a super advertisement for the Butterfly Museum, but I have to a little bit, because
You
it's
gotta get the butterfly bag. What you
oh,
talking about?
dude, it's such a surreal feeling. Like it's nothing like I've ever experienced in my life. I recorded part of it and I put it on Facebook for everybody to see it early. But if
Even
that's
the
what heaven
music.
feels like, or if that's
Yeah.
part of what heaven, like I want to be there all day, every day. That's how
Yeah.
it's like another
Yeah.
realm when you go to this
Yeah.
place, man.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's like thousands of butterflies all around you. It's kind of scary, because like there's so many, you're afraid to like walk on them, or
Right.
and
right,
it's scary.
right. You
But
don't want to crush them.
So, quick question: what is it about it that makes it feel like heaven? Like, what's
it's
the
so
quality?
tranquil, it's so peaceful,
Yeah.
and like they had like the meditation music playing. It's just something I felt like. The bad part about it is I only had like 15 minutes to
Yeah.
experience, because I got there at the end of the day before they closed. But I know when we go back, I want to spend like hours there. I want to like meditate there for an hour. I want to do way more than I had the experience to do. But to me, that happened at the beginning of my journey. It was kind of like a reflection of myself, because like once you learn what the butterflies are, their history, then they have a middle part where it's like you see the butterflies go through the whole transformation and metamorphosis. So they'll have like the monarchs there, like in the cocoon stage, and then how they, the whole process of how they transfer into the butterfly stage. So that part, like, and the timing, it all happened on my journey was just, it was all in synchronicity.
And even like the different stages, it kind of triggers your mind to going like, okay, I'm here, I'm in the cocoon. I'm about to evolve. Like, it's like you can meditate on that part too. So it's like it's different. It's different. It's just the energy.
And you know what the other part to that is that in terms of getting to the place, like what butterflies, what caterpillars do is, right, they crawl along this branch, right? And then they get to a place where they just stop, because usually there's something in the way where they build a little, there's like another branch or there's something there. And so they figure out, they try to go around it, they can't. They try to go under it, they can't. Try to go over it, they can't. So what they do is they just sit there for 11 days. And in that 11 days, they turn into a butterfly. So the metaphor for us humans, how many times have we tried to go over something, around something, through something, when really it's just asking us to be fucking still and go in and go deeper, right? And get into the stillness and the tranquility. And from there, that's where we give our rebirth from.
I'm going to do you one more on that one. So, I love Mark.
Look what you started, Jay.
The African brother is here.
So, my mom... I remember when I was younger when she told me. I remember those phases that you were talking about with, the frontal lobe growth and yeah, right? So I was 8, so my ass didn't really get what this meant until 19. After after all of that huge stuff. And it was basically, she said, look each year in your life, look at yourself as a caterpillar, and on December, look at yourself on a butterfly, right?
Right.
And then on January, you're back to a caterpillar.
Right. That's a good
So,
one.
I'm not really, I don't know that much about retrogrades and stuff like that, but I'm pretty sure the Mercury retrograde is around June, right? Like July?
It ended in July 31st.
The end of July, yep.
I think it started in June.
And that's smack dab in the middle of the year, right?
Yep.
Where a lot of people going through transformations, et cetera, et cetera, et
It
cetera.
happens quite a few times during the year, but mostly during the summertime. There is one during the summertime,
Okay. So, it just made sense, low-key. I mean, for me, honestly, my biggest show that I've ever hosted for GOAT, which is my brand right here.
There you go.
Was on December 30th.
Okay.
And then after that, everything just started to kind of collapse a little bit.
Oh.
So,
okay.
you know what I'm saying? Kind of like a reset. But you have to kind of, my mom kind of built that. And at first it was just perspective means everything.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true.
And then I was like, damn, I'm really a fucking butterfly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good, let's go with that.
I think the butterfly is one of the most common spiritual totems that you see it all the time. Tattoos and logos. That
was another thing. I started seeing people with butterfly tattoos too. Now that you triggered me to think about, I would just be in the Walmart parking lot, and some dude's got a big ass butterfly tat on the back of his cab.
You're like, wait a minute, can I talk to you about that right there?
Which dude you see with a big tattoo?
I was driving in the Walmart parking lot. This dude had on
Walmart.
shorts. He had a big Walmart, the devil's playground once again. But we don't have time for that because we both worked. She works. I work at Walmart, so we both work. You get too informational right now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I worked at the one.
We'll talk. We'll cut. Hey, cut the mic. I'm playing. No, I'm sorry, guys.
I did it for a purpose though. I did it to a physical and mental challenge because I was at a point in my life where I've always been a self-employed entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I've always been. I've owned a business since I was 16 in high school. I was throwing parties, making thousands of dollars every week doing teen nights. So I had a car when I was 15. I've always had that in me. So I was like, let me see what it feels like to work a 9 to 5. Let me see if I can physically and mentally go through what someone else goes through. So I'm of all places, Walmart.
Oh wow.
And I did it during holiday season. I did it for Thanksgiving, Christmas, and MLK, and then I quit after that. But why are we talking about Walmart on this podcast,
Come on, I work there all
not,
day. I don't want to talk about Walmart.
Yeah, this ain't nothing.
Yeah,
this
really.
ain't nothing about it. So back to the animal totems and omens. So I agree with you. The most thing I've researched is they say most spirits or whatever you want to label it as,
Right.
come through butterflies,
Right.
dragonflies,
Right.
and ladybugs is
And
the three
birds,
most.
right.
And birds.
Yes,
So
yeah.
speaking of birds, I've had some bird experiences. I'm gonna tell you the most prominent one because we be talking way too long about birds. Maybe a month into my journey, because I'm outside every day, so I'm jogging, I'm looking up, and I see like 5 white birds like in a triangle.
Yeah.
In a triangle.
Yeah.
No clouds in the sky,
Nope.
no trees. I reach down to get my cell phone to take a picture of it.
They're
Gone.
gone. Yep.
Completely out of sight.
Yep, 'cause
I
that
swear to
message was
God.
just meant for you. Just
I was
focus,
like,
yeah.
I wanted to get a picture of it so bad. I'm like, look at
Yeah,
this shit. They're like
yeah.
flying like in a triangle, like 1, then 2 behind it,
Yep.
then 3 behind
Yep.
it, and like nothing. Like within however long it takes to look down in your pants to get your phone, I look back up and they're
Right,
completely
right.
ghosts.
So that means that that means that you're fully supported, because the way that you had it, it's a structure. It's a stable, it's a structure, and you're going in the right direction, so you're fully supported on that. So
That
that's,
was wild, man. I
Mhm.
think that was the first after the butterflies. I had a male deer experience. I was jogging
Okay.
and the male deer just ran like 10 feet in front of me.
right.
I was like, I had to stop jogging. I'm like, okay. I mean, I've seen deers out here, but like in daylight, because deers only really come
Right.
out sunlight and sundown.
I'm from
This was-
Vermont, I know.
Yeah,
they
so
do
this
not
was like
come
in the
out.
middle of the day, like high noon. I'm jogging,
Yeah.
100 degrees outside, and the male
Yeah.
deer just do. I'm
Yeah.
like, let me take a break for a second. I gotta just figure this shit out real quick.
Right.
So what do you
Um,
make of that? What'd you make of that?
I still don't, because that was so long ago. I've had so many experiences since then. Like I had after that, I had the big sea turtle walk up to me when I was
That was
outside.
cool. That
yeah,
was really
I was just
cool.
walking
Yeah.
and just walked up to me on the block, and then I
Right.
walked it across the street. Then I had a female deer. I had an owl one night who was watching me, just sitting there. I was out passing out flyers, putting them on people's mailboxes
Ugh.
for a concert I had. And me and my friend rolled up on the mailbox, and we're like, man, is that a real bird or is that a statue? We're like, we're just going to stand still and see what happens.
Right.
And we waited there for like a minute, and then it flew off. I was like, that was an owl, man. I'm like, so I've all kind of craziness, man.
That's cool.
So I had to like go into research mode to like what
Right.
each one means
Right.
at that point in my journey.
Right.
And that was so long ago. I don't know what a male deer means anymore, because like I get so much stuff that happens. It's hard to like download and process
Well,
it all. It's overwhelming.
But that's okay, because everybody has their own interpretation of it. But it's the stag, it's the male stag. So it's you're standing firm. So when you picture a stag, it stands up with its horns, and you're standing firm in what you're doing on that part of your journey. You're standing firm in it. That's you are leading the path, and you're overlooking. Like, think Bambi,
yeah.
think the dad, he's protective, he's standing firm, so that's kind of what. And then Bambi would be like a doe would be,
I seen a female like maybe 3 months ago. So this was like it's probably a 7-8 month gap between the male deer and the female deer.
so that's your feminine side. So that's the masculine and the feminine coming together. So
In general, they're gifts,
Yes.
really. They're gifts. Anytime an animal or an insect or something shows up in our lives,
right.
it's a gift, because it means that we're open enough energetically
Yes.
to have these things appear, because they're not afraid.
Yes.
Traditionally, these animals stay away from
Yes.
humans
Well-
for obvious reasons,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So when one of them shows up, it means that energy, like you said, is a long list of the different things that you've seen over the years. But at each time, that energy, it's acknowledging that energy within you.
Right.
It's
Right.
not saying that you need it as much as you have it.
Ooh.
And it's saying recognize this part of your consciousness and
that.
activate that energy, within your heart and within your soul. Because when you look at the earth, so we're talking about, we talked about butterflies, insects. So there's 7 kingdoms in the earth,
Yes.
right? There's
Yep.
7 different kingdoms.
Right.
The human kingdom, the angelic kingdom, the animal kingdom, the mineral kingdom, the Deva kingdom, which is the plants and the plant spirits and stuff like that, the elemental kingdom, which is the fire, earth, air, and water spirits. So when you put all those together, living in those 7 different kingdoms that are integrated together, we as humans, as the third eye opens and as we develop unconditional love, these things start to appear to us on a regular basis, and we integrate between those 7 kingdoms
Right,
on a
right.
regular basis, which
Right.
means that we're like universal beings or intuitives or empaths or whatever we want to call ourselves. And that's really the cool part about it, is when that kingdom opens up. Like, how often do people see fairies, gnomes, elves, and dwarfs? They don't, but they're there. But they're so afraid of humans
She
for
sees
obvious
them.
reasons. Yeah, exactly.
I haven't been able to get to her level yet, but I got 19 more years to go, so Lord willing.
You never know. You never know. Next year they might be like, "Oh, remember when you asked for this one? Here you go." You've been going down the road. Oh my God.
I haven't seen a ghost yet. I've seen orbs. Is that considered?
That's the start of it because they kind of, like I said, they like to ease you in. They don't want to be like, okay, you're gonna start seeing that because that would be like
You'll
super
see a
freaking scary.
Big African man on your sofa. You go look the other way, and all of a sudden he's not there anymore and shit.
Wait a minute, granddaddy. Wait a minute.
Those are always the funniest stories.
So you had any experience with animals?
Animals.
Butterflies, insects,
You
dragonflies.
forgot his name already, didn't you?
Wow.
Marcelo.
There you go.
That's a lot. No, that's a lot. What I will say is that I kind of look at it more of like an ancestral thing. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes people, like as I said, when you die, you're not, your energy doesn't leave this earth.
Right.
A lot of people don't know that, like, when people talk about ancestors and stuff like that, it's considering that, you know what I'm saying, in my practice, we deal with a lot of that energy.
Mm-hmm.
Your ancestors don't exactly have to be related to you. Your main ancestor is rarely somebody that's related to you.
That is true.
You know what I'm saying?
Huh? Now you just confused me. My real ancestors is someone who's not really related to me.
No, let's say somebody like your person that's your guardian,
Okay.
right? Rarely is that person ever related to you. It's just somebody that cares about you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it gets real. Like, when people use the word ancestors, especially when it comes down to, like, African powers and stuff, that's just a very broad term. That could just mean the dead homies. Or that could mean somebody from, like, far away time.
So kind of like in now where, like,
Yeah.
you can make up your own family.
Now, for me personally, working in Palu a lot, you know what I'm saying? Like, in Palu, you work a lot with that.
Right.
However, for me, I never really had to. Well, I'm dealing with it now. I'll say that. I'm dealing with, like, oh, shit. Damn, my ancestors really showing me signs here and there. A lot of things that, like, another thing that you have to be really, really big about, especially when you're talking about, like, animal, like, things like that, if that's your spiritual awakening, your words have a lot more power than they used to. Or now you're going to start realizing the power of your words. Right? That's the very first thing that I was told. Like, when I was going through, like, all of that stuff, like all of the ceremony and stuff, from here on out, you have to watch what you say.
Right.
Because it will happen.
Right.
And especially the stuff that you don't mean, but as I say, the type of energy you put behind it.
Right.
And when it comes down to, like, animals and stuff like that, you'll have people that are seen. They'll see ghosts, like, straight up. They'll be
You
like,
mean
hey,
like the Enchanted Raven over here?
yeah, like that ass. Like, my padrino will, like, walk in my crib, right next to my prenda, be like, yeah, there's sitting right there on your cabinet.
That's what she
And
does
I
all
was-
the time.
And I was like, oh shit.
She did that last week on the podcast. She told us that
was like-
Chinaman was in here with us.
I was like, damn, that nigga needs to start paying rent. But
She probably feel the same way about the spirits would be in
Come
her
on
place
now.
too.
Like, wait a minute.
what I will say
Did you eat
about
my chicken
what-
salad?
what I will say about the commonality of this stuff too is that a lot of the people, like, in the media aren't, like, everybody, like, everybody here knows, like, 21 Savage, right?
I just
Yeah.
went to see them in
Right.
concert
Yeah.
live
Savage,
in
right?
Chicago.
Yeah.
He
Like
he
3
comes
weeks
on
ago.
the Breakfast Club and talks about this all the time.
Right.
He's like, all right, yeah, I'm in Ifa, da 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 da. This is
Right.
what we believe in. This is what da da da. This is
Right.
right. But you also have to know the difference between blaming, like, especially when it comes down to doing, like, things that you're not supposed to, right? Because inside you know what you're supposed to do and what you're not supposed to do. But you have to also recognize that everybody has a different path.
Right.
That
Right.
person can go and do that wild stuff. They can get in a fight and all of that. They're not going to end up in jail, but I will end up in the slammer,
Right.
right? Because that's not my path. Now, when it comes down to, like, animal stuff, I like what Mark said about masculine and feminine energy, right?
Actually, she
You're
said
going
that.
to
I said that.
you, like, in I know in the African Patanan, when you get crowned, you have a mother and a father, and it does symbolize your masculine, the type of masculine and the type of feminine energy that you have. Right? Now, it's all about balance. If you have too much of the other, then you're going to, like, trip. I'm going to be honest. For me, I had a lot of, like...
So time out for a second.
Go.
Can we get back on track a little bit?
Yeah.
In my mind, this is like going off on a big
Yeah.
tangent. Nothing personal, but it really is.
Okay.
But that's up to you, Jay.
That's up to you.
All right, so let's jump back. So we were staying on the topic of animals. So yeah, because so far just me and his experience. You want to jump in now, the Enchanted Raven?
Well, with my animal, it's always been a wolf. It's always been
wolf.
a wolf.
Ow.
The wolf. Ow. cute. Yes, it's always been. And I didn't really realize that until probably about 2 years ago when I had to get my alpha, my alpha stage. A lot of my journey was finding myself, and a lot of my journey was trying to stand my ground, because everybody would walk all over me. So being an empath, they would take take my energy. So wolf has always been one. I would see wolves everywhere. I would see logos. I would hear howling. The moon is everything to me. So I'm like, yep, that's where it goes. And then I started seeing lions and tigers. And that's strength, and that's pride. So here you have the pack mentality. You have that community. You have that that trust, and then you have the pride, and then you have the tiger. That's very family and community. So I needed to find my tribe that's gonna make me into what I am today. So for me, it started with butterflies, but I have to admit I'm really not like. I love the butterflies. I think that they're whimsical, and I love that aspect, and I do meditate with that, and it's transformation, and it does go along the line. But for me, my first experience was a wolf. It was always a wolf or a cat, like that pride, that that feline kind of thing. So that's kind of what I went through.
All right, spiritual OG Mark, I know you've had some experiences over there on your journey for sure.
Well, yeah, well, it's interesting because I lived in Sedona a long time ago, and when I first got to Arizona, which was back in the 70s, obviously I was living in my car in the desert. I used to just sleep out on the desert, so rattlesnakes would visit me on a regular basis, sort of thing. But it didn't take me long to figure out that I'd rather be by the beach than in the desert.
Oh, yeah.
So I lived over 20 years in Hawaii, and of course, and I lived in New Zealand, and I sailed across the Pacific on a 55-foot catamaran for 2 years. And I lived in Tahiti, I lived in Bora Bora, I lived in Fiji, Samoa, American Samoa, all these incredible places, and dolphins were my totem.
You know what's funny? I almost brought my dolphin.
She forgot to mention that.
I almost brought my dolphin, my little dolphin. It's like this. It's like the little Buddha, but it's a dolphin.
Right.
Yeah.
Ceramic dolphin.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
So of course, if we've and Bonita is a great place for dolphins too, because I live in Bonita. So every time I'm there, not every time, I'm exaggerating, but a lot of times when I'm there, they'll come.
Right.
And I've actually swam around with them there.
See,
and I've actually went for a ride with them twice.
I want to do that.
Where they came up that close and they let me touch them and let me hold on and then they let me hold on while they pulled me through the water.
Wow.
So and in New Zealand, of course, there's incredible places in New Zealand. I lived there for like 4 years, and the dolphin tribes there are just absolutely unbelievable.
I bet.
Yeah, and so the freedom. And you know what else? I didn't get a chance to do this with my daughter because of other things that came up, but we were about to have the birth of my daughter in the ocean.
Oh, wow.
With the dolphins. In fact, there's a book called Dolphin Midwives, and it was developed by a Russian guy named Tchaikovsky who was birthing women in the water with dolphins, and they would come and they would nudge the baby out of the person's womb.
Wow.
And then the baby would like swim underwater with the dolphins for hours.
Wow.
So anyway, there's a whole thing going on there with dolphins.
Wow.
Didn't you have a dolphin experience that you were telling me about a couple weeks ago?
I did. I was actually at Fort Myers Beach, and I had never, you read about the experiences all the time, and I was just walking to the beach. This was a day that I was just like, man, I was going through it. The beach is my thing. Like, that is my calmness.
Your chill.
That is my chill. That's my peace. I was just walking the beach, and I got to the end of it, and all of a sudden everybody was looking at the water. I'm like, is there a shark? Like, what's going on over here? And then I saw the fins. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, there's dolphins, and there's 2 dolphins. I'm like, okay, I know exactly what I know exactly what needs to. And so I went back and I made the decision that I made, and I kept going. And then about a week and a half later, I was standing at the pier. And again, I was, it was just something that I needed to decide, and I needed to connect with, and I needed to just confirmation. And all of a sudden, here comes this dolphin swimming. Like, it just stopped right and was swimming back and forth right in the water.
Right. It was loving you.
All of y'all animals so supportive.
We nature. That's the theme of today's podcast is nature and the importance of nature.
Mine is a dove.
A dove?
Oh, see, that's a good one.
I can't say I've seen a dove.
No, that's how I know. Because anytime my event is going like real successful or anything like that, or like the day of the event, like a feather, I'll see a feather.
There you go.
I get feathers.
Yeah.
And Obatala's animal is a dove.
Yes.
So it just made sense. So I was like, whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, straight.
All right. So the last portion of this podcast, number 2, AKA the Nature Podcast and the Animal Totem and experience with animals on your spiritual journey, or not on your spiritual journey. You might just not know you on a spiritual journey and just notice weird things happening to you and haven't connected
Either
the
way,
dots yet.
Yep,
Right.
yep,
So
yep.
I want to wrap this up. We can't not have complete this podcast without talking about the Amazon and what's going on.
Right.
It's a big topic right now.
Right,
The
right.
mainstream media kind of tried to make it not a big topic by distracting us with Popeye's chicken sandwich last week,
I
which
mean,
was
it's-
total bullshit. But, you know, more people care about a damn Popeye's chicken sandwich than humanity. You know, and that's pretty a sad place where we at right now.
Exactly, and I just talked about this on my Instagram page. I said, listen, you know, Mother Nature, we're about to be grounded by Mother Nature, is what I say. She's mad. You know, she's
mad.
yeah.
Oh, y'all don't want that smoke.
No,
I'll say that. Y'all really
no.
don't want that smoke.
No.
So
Oh,
tell me
no,
what's
no,
going
no.
on in Amazon, because I haven't really read into it a lot. I've been hearing about it, but I haven't read into it. So obviously the rainforest is on fire.
On fire, yeah.
Oh, I actually heard a story that like the indigenous people made a pact with the government because there's oil under the forest,
Yeah.
and they
It's
won.
all
They
about
won
it.
the case, and shortly after, ominously, the rainforest is on fire. So.
So your theory is a deal went bad. They basically
Well-
screwed over the indigenous people.
Well, I don't know, Jack. But what I will say is that things that really just don't add up in my head a little bit. And on top of that, you know, this was just a mass. It was like I don't know how much species were actually like
Right.
extinct from this fire.
Right.
You know,
It's
like
it's
a lot of
devastating,
people don't
yeah.
realize that the Amazon is in charge of a lot of things in this ecosystem.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? And we are one with the world, the natural world that we are in. So
Facts,
so
yeah.
when it gets harmed, low key we get harmed too. So
exactly. It
yeah,
cuts off all our it cuts everything to us. Our air, everything.
I believe that you can like you need to raise awareness about that. I mean, you guys can go out and eat your Popeyes chicken. I ate it. It was amazingly good. But at the same time, like I really
You
don't.
just went on this spiel about
No,
how
no.
important the ecosystem
But
is when you're eating
was-
GMO, chemically based cows.
Nah, but I
Chickens,
do,
whatever,
I do
man.
believe that
Processed
you know what I'm saying,
meat.
that did overshadow the issue of the rainforest
Yes,
burning
and
the
it was
fuck down.
intentional, of course.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, people need to start making things like prioritizing things the right way a little bit.
Yeah.
And I work in marketing a lot. So, like, it just kind of like that angered me. I was like, whatever.
It angered a lot
Yeah.
of people. It really did. I mean, so what can we do? I mean, what is there that we can do besides raising, like, what physically, what can we do? I mean, I know donate, but what are some of the options that we have?
Yeah, I don't know any more than those kinds of things, but I think one perspective that's a useful perspective is to know and understand, because we're all connected and there are these different kingdoms and it's all one thing, and the earth, of course, is a living entity too, right? And so the spirit of the earth has a body that looks like earth, like
Right.
my body looks like this, yours like that, and
Right,
a
right.
horse looks like a horse. So
Right.
so it's alive, it's aware, it's awake, and it sacrifices parts of itself. And in a sense, that's what I think is going on in the
To
rainforest.
get awareness. Oh,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
like
because
that.
because how often you still hear people saying, "Oh, there's no climate change, there's no global warming, it's okay." But we know that, you know, without getting specific, but there are corporations who have gone in there over the last 50 to 100 years and have mined and chopped down and burned and
Yeah.
desecrated the entire place in order to grow cows, for example, on pastures so they can sell the meat to the West. So a very small part of the population is going to benefit from this stuff. So in general, the earth has to give up something, or she's willing to. It doesn't have to do anything, but she's willing to be a martyr, to give up something, you know, in order to increase this awareness. The same way people die in these shootings, and you have to think like, so what's the karma around that, you know, like
Right. Bring
as much
awareness.
as compassion that we have, yeah,
Right.
but they've all given their lives, hopefully, God willing, in our minds, for a greater cause,
Right,
that we'll
right.
take more action, whatever action is that we get
Maybe
to
that's
take.
the key, is just to pay attention and take action.
And
you know.
I think so, and to hold it in your prayers, like, you know,
Yeah.
we send love and light to the earth and go, hey,
Right.
we are so sorry, you know, we do whatever we can.
Right.
So if there's things that we can do in our personal lives, like, you know, Jay's talking about maybe next time we're talking about eating and foods and different things like
Mm-hmm.
that. How can we leave a smaller imprint, footprint in our own personal lives? Like when we buy stuff from stores, whether it's having to go to Whole Foods or going to Walmart or going to wherever and getting it less expensive. Or this, all of that, our awareness of sustainability. I think that's the key banner here.
Yeah.
Sustainability. How much of your day is not sustainable?
Right.
And we all drive cars, at least I do, so that's not sustainable. I understand that, but it's kind of what's going on. So we do the best.
Well, where we live
can.
at, we have to almost. I mean, unless you work, you can ride a bike there. I mean, we kind of in a situation here where we have to have a car
Right.
to a certain degree because the
Right.
way this area is spread out.
Right.
I'll kind of drop some, like, just for the viewers that don't know, like, how big the beef distribution is really a part of this Amazon thing, is that, a lot of people don't know, like, it takes quite a couple thousand gallons of water for 1 pound of beef. And that's a
Wow.
lot of water.
Wow.
Right?
Right.
And people don't realize until, like, all right, we can talk about how we feel about it, but I want to just drop some numbers so people can grasp. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If I'm dropping a couple thousand gallons of water for 1 pound of beef,
That's a lot of water.
how much
wasted.
is that, like, really seeping from the environment? It's seeping a whole lot. I'm trying to keep my language down. But it's seeping a whole lot.
Right.
So for me, I mean, if you're gonna eat meat, all right, eat chicken. At least make those small steps. You know what I'm saying?
Do
Because
something.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's like I know
Right,
at the end.
sustainability. It gets back to sustainability. It's
Yeah.
not sustainable.
Yeah.
1,000 gallons for a pound of beef. It's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable. Yeah.
And it's because that these corporations and stuff have been there for a long period of time, and through the negligence of their being there, I'm sure that's why most of these fires have started.
And we need to think in abundance. Yes, everything is in abundance. There's always an abundance. Mother Nature always makes it more, but we need to get rid of gluttony too. Like we have to be very careful about that fine line between abundance and gluttony.
Well, according to the Buddhist tradition, gluttony is one of the things that you don't really want to get into.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, and Buddha said all suffering is from attachment. So we're attaching to our lifestyles, to our diets, let alone to our thoughts and our habitual ways of thinking and being. All attachments, and when it doesn't go our way for whatever the reason, we suffer. Well, we're attached to certain things as humans, and who's suffering? The earth.
And here's another thing I do like to say, you know what I'm saying, because the media definitely does. I'm not going to front. The media definitely does guilt people of a lower financial class. Like, yo, listen, this is your fault.
Yeah.
But, there's a lot of corporations out here that you brought up earlier that is deforesting, you know what I'm saying, the Amazon, stuff like that. Sometimes this is like, for me, I look up the corporations that are in charge of, like, the Amazon deforestation. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Let your friends know about it. Let them know where you can contact these companies, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, at the end of the day, I get it. We're on our phones all the time. We see this, and we feel helpless towards it. But really, we are the consumer at the end of the day.
So
You know what I'm saying? So,
sustainability and accountability.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
For sure.
Yeah.
What
So-
you think? You ready for?
What do you got?
I don't know. I'm itching.
Ray.
I'm
Yeah,
itching.
you gonna wrap it up and
I'll
end
pass.
it? You gonna pull a card?
I'm gonna pull a card. Let's pull a card for Mother Nature. Let's see what she's got to say.
We're
Are
gonna
we
pull a
done? Are
card
we-
on this podcast. What do you? That's your world. However you want to do your thing, Enchanted
right.
Raven.
All right. Well, we'll just
So
What are we pulling for? What's the intention?
we are pulling for Mother Nature to give us just that positive change that we need to do, and what anybody can tap into.
some direction, perhaps.
Some direction. Yes.
How we can help.
All right.
One try to fly. We got a flyer.
Oh, we got two.
2 butterflies
Woo!
flying.
All right. Ah, the monarch.
Unbelievable.
It's only right.
Unbelievable.
Two monarchs right there.
Only the show had to end like that, man. I
Okay,
mean, that's how we
okay.
started, and that's
Listen,
how it's going
Totally.
in.
Totally.
So the message is keep the faith and memories. Listen, we have to remember how the earth was. We have to remember how the earth is so abundant. We have to remember how we started out as green and luscious as we were, and we have to keep the faith that we can get that sustainability and accountability.
Right.
That's how we're gonna. That's the awareness that we're bringing in today. That's the awareness of the message that we're bringing in today. So Mother Nature has spoken, and she needs us to keep the faith about the memories of how she used to look and bring it back to her.
Yeah.
So-
And yeah, that's beautiful, because what I was thinking was, with everything that's going on with the rainforest, what's going on in America with the shooting, everything in the world that's
Yes.
bad, negative, all that stuff, people are dying, people are giving themselves up, they're
Right.
surrendering, they're
Right.
sacrificing themselves. I think it's useful to hold the vision, which is kind of what those cards were saying, that we don't want to give negative energy into all that and really live in the fear of all that. We want to be
Right.
sustainable and accountable.
Right.
But beyond the shadow of a doubt, we know beyond the shadow of a doubt that the earth is awesome, the earth is expansive, the earth is brilliant, the earth is totally powerful, totally awesome, totally capable of rejuvenating itself
Yes.
despite us
Yes.
in general.
Yes.
So we want to hold that vision and know that regardless of what's happening, in my mind, we're on the threshold of the birth of a new world. And if this is what it takes to get us to that place, it's uncomfortable for us humans, but then so what isn't? The idea is to hold that vision,
Yes.
and birth that new world
Yes.
unconditionally. Open your heart, work with forgiveness, work with unconditional love, live your life in every way that you possibly can, and all the pieces will come together from the higher self because there is a plan, and we are the little hands and feet of that plan.
Yes. Beautiful. Yep.
I agree.
Hey.
Close out with final words. We'll go around in a circle and everybody say their last piece before we get up out of here today.
Guest.
Oh, it's my turn.
Yes.
Oh, y'all saved the best for no. I'm chilling. Well, I will say, for people that are looking for their spiritual awakening and they're just frustrated that hasn't came yet, you know what I'm saying? Go with the flow. You know what I'm saying? Everything comes at the time that it's supposed to come.
Facts.
Naturally.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Right.
don't be worried. We obviously all of us are over here. You know what I'm saying? With the exception. No, I'm playing. Our spiritual gurus, but you know what I'm saying. At the end of the day, we're human. We're human, and so are you. So it will come. Open yourself up. You know what I'm saying, and just be insightful for what you want to do, because at the end of the day, find your true self will find your spirituality. All right.
Beautiful.
That's all I gotta say.
Beautiful.
Mark, I know you got your event coming up.
Yeah, let me talk about that just for a second. I feel like I said my thing a minute ago.
Yeah.
So, but on the autumnal equinox, September 21st, we're doing something called Soothe Your Soul, and it's a full-day workshop. And you can go to the website www.sootheyoursoulsaturday.com. So if you'd like to hear more, if you'd like to be involved with integrating physical, mental, emotional, spiritual healing in our bodies, and have meditations, and there's going to be music all day, live music. And exercises and things you can take home, tools in order to be able to stay centered, calm, and loving in challenging situations. We know it's not a question of if, but when the next challenging situation comes.
That's
So it's
for
going to be a
sure.
great workshop. So go to the website. We hope to see you there. And just thanks to everybody.
Now, on the 31st, are you still having that wellness?
Yes, we are having, well,
Okay.
that's true, we are. We're also
Okay.
having a networking event
Okay. Yes.
on
Yes.
31st
more.
of
Yes,
August
yes.
at Paradise Wellness and Event
Next
Center.
Saturday, this
Sa-
Saturday.
Yeah, this coming
Yeah, this
Saturday.
coming
yeah,
Saturday,
from
yeah.
6 to 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
So if you're a business owner of any kind, an entrepreneur, and you want to learn some interesting marketing skills, some funnel skills, some also meditation and coaching skills, we have amazing people who are going to be there doing some presentations, plus it's a networking event. So thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And you can go online to, I'm not sure where we go online to that. It's on Meetup, I think, is where I've seen it.
I've seen it there, and I've seen John.
Also, John
Yeah,
Mueller on his
yeah,
on his Facebook.
or
yeah,
his
yeah,
Facebook and Instagram, he does.
yeah,
it
and
too.
Instagram too.
Mhm.
So it's a networking event for spiritual people, basically, who want to use spirituality to increase their profits.
Perfect.
I'll be there.
Hey,
No.
so will I. So will I.
This Saturday, Bonita Springs Paradise Wellness Center. It's
Yeah.
right off of Cleveland Avenue,
Yep.
41, whatever you want to call it. As soon as you pass Bonita Beach Road, it's not even like, what, a half a mile
Yeah,
south?
it's about 1 block south.
Yeah, and
the
it's on
coolest
the
place
east,
ever.
east side of the street, so it's really easy to find.
It really is. It's the coolest place ever. I like it.
Your turn.
You all know me. I'm Enchanted Raven. You can find me on Facebook, Enchanted Raven. You can email me enchantedраven888.com. You can find me on Instagram. I am Gypsy_Healer48. Contact me, guys, if you need anything. Reach out to me. Like I said, I do a whole ton of stuff, so just reach out to me, and we'll do this together. And my catchphrase, my
Go, go.
Hakuna Matata.
Hakuna Matata.
Oh yeah. So,
All right.
oh,
I mean, I think
oh.
that's it. You got go ahead.
Oh yeah, sorry. I didn't know we were dropping social media.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, drop your
Social
socials.
media is Marcelo Waves, MERCELOWAVES. That's my only Instagram. Yeah, that's about it. If you guys are trying to know about shows, events, roundtables, or you just have some spiritual questions y'all want to hit me with, that's dope too. Then yeah.
Thank you all for joining us.
What
Thank
about you, Jay?
for-
Me, I just want everybody to first, subscribe to this
Yes,
YouTube
hit that
channel.
like
Yes,
button.
God is Good Charities Inc. 239. That's the name of my non-for-profit.
Yes.
Just like it. Hopefully you watched it. Subscribe, share it. It's just an informational tool to share our experiences with you. You know, I mean, it's gonna happen. Like Mark always says, it's just a
Right.
matter of when. But everybody
right.
will go through this
Right.
spiritual awakening, transformation,
Don't resist.
whatever you want to call it, shift. Right. So, you know,
Don't
we're just
resist.
kind of preparing you since someone had to prepare us. That's
Right.
it. We
That's
just giving
right.
back free
Right.
knowledge. So
Right.
take it
right.
for what it's worth, because I know that's the biggest challenge. How we started this podcast is a lot of people experience things, but then they don't really go
Share.
deeper. They don't
Right.
share. They don't go
Right.
deeper because they're usually afraid for what people think of them or perceive them as. So
Right.
hopefully this makes you a little bit comfortable when you see this podcast. Say, okay, I'm not the only weirdo hippie out there in the
I'm
world.
a weirdo.
There's some other ones in Fort Myers too. We here. We going through
I'm
the
damn
experience.
proud,
And some been
yes.
going on for a longer time than I have. I'm the baby of the Zodiac. So
I've been a weirdo for 20 years. Come on now.
exactly.
Ain't nothing I don't know.
So join us if you ever want to be a guest and
I'm
hang
chilling.
out with us. You're in the Southwest Florida area, you know, Fort Myers, Naples, wherever, Lehigh, Cape Coral. Just hit us up on anybody's social media, YouTube. Hopefully you like what we doing. We're going to keep spreading this knowledge and dropping
Yes.
these nuggets, and hopefully we can make the world a better place when we
Yes.
leave than when we got
That's
here.
right.
And we can
That's
raise the
right.
vibration and the frequency of everything, and you know, wake some people up, as I say. Unity
Yes.
consciousness. That's
Yes.
that's the whole mission statement.
And
with
one
this.
other word too, since you're on Unity Consciousness, I'd like to leave everybody with gratitude.
Gratitude, yeah. I
Gratitude.
shared that last week.
That's right.
On that little word chart
There
thing.
you go.
Every time I look at it, I see gratitude.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's like a little puzzle that I've been sharing on Facebook, and it's a
Yes.
puzzle and it's got a bunch of words in it. And
It
sees
changes,
where
yeah.
see where your energy's drawn to.
Oh,
Yep.
cool.
Yeah,
Yep.
and
Very
every
cool.
time I do
Yeah.
it, I see gratitude. And I
Yep.
was like, the
Yeah.
first 2 times I did gratitude, alignment, and connection. And the last time I think I did power, gratitude, and I don't know, something else.
It's
but-
always been change. Change is constant for me. Like change has always come up for me. It's constant.
Change?
Yeah, change.
Well, that's a hint there, but
Hey.
Shout out to
That's a
Oya.
regular thing.
to who?
Oya.
What he
Okay.
said.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go. So we'll be back next Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern
Thank you,
Standard
everybody.
Time. Lord
Thank
willing,
you.
God is good
Thank you.
charities. We'll
Yes.
see y'all next time. Y'all be blessed.
Okay, be
Hey.
blessed.